Amazing secret exposed. Millionaire in disguise hears Heartwarming Receptionist'S touching story. Sarah leaned over her desk, the faint glow of the computer screen cutting through the early morning gloom in her downtown Minneapolis office. The weather outside was bleak. A heavy rain drummed against the windows, but the warmth of her community inside felt like a lifeline. As the receptionist for the bustling firm, she arrived before dawn, alive with the determination that was bred into her by her father, a proud veteran who fought for his country with honor. Every ring of the phone reminded her of the mounting medical bills, the growing stack of paperwork so heavy it felt like a weight on her chest. But with the bright laughter of her colleagues surrounding her, she pushed through, her father's sacrifices guiding her spirit. The chatter in the break room that rainy Tuesday was infectious. Sarah shared a tale about her father, a hero in her eyes who had dedicated his life to serving. As she described how, during each deployment, he came back a little less whole, her colleagues hung on her every word. Their eyes glistened with empathy, and voices crackled with shared stories of their own struggles and triumphs, creating a cozy sense of family. It was in those small moments, she realized, that they all lifted each other higher amidst the chaos of life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But the atmosphere shifted abruptly when Tom, dressed in what was supposed to be a janitor's uniform, a disguise for his true wealth, stumbled into the room. A cleaning cart collided with his foot, and with it, his cover was blown. A casual, accidental slip of conversation revealed he was a millionaire. Shockwaves rippled through the break room, a chill sweeping over the warmth they'd just built moments before. Sarah's heart sank. People looked at him differently now. How could a man with so much understand the burdens they carried? Doubts clawed at her insides like jagged glass. The subsequent moments saw tension thickening in the air. As they prepared for a big community event, Sarah struggled. Her mind was a whirlpool of betrayal and self-doubt. Could Tom's presence be a painful reminder of her own hardships, or could it help redefine her worth? She watched as her colleagues rallied around her, their love illuminating the shadows that clung to her spirit. Yet, amidst the support, she felt distant, trapped in a bubble of conflicting emotions. But when Tom stood up at the event, something changed. He broke away from the script, pouring praise onto Sarah, the true heart of their office. "This woman doesn't just work, she fights," he said, and the room erupted in applause. For a fleeting moment, Sarah felt lifted. But moments later, doubt surged back. Why should it matter what he said? Could a millionaire really comprehend the grit and determination it took to survive each day? As the applause waned and silence fell once more, Sarah remained frozen, teetering on the edge of recognizing a truth about her strength or being overwhelmed by the disparity that now loomed larger than ever. The crowd waited, drawn into its own collective breath, but so did Sarah, caught in a whirlwind of hope and confusion, ready for transformation, yet unsure if she dared to embrace it. Would Tom's intervention show her the strength she couldn't see in herself? The answer hung palpably in the air, tantalizingly close yet dauntingly out of reach. Sarah's mind was racing. The room had erupted, but she felt like an outsider, the cheers washing over her without truly touching her heart. Tom had showered her with words that should have felt like validation, yet insecurity seeped into her thoughts. Did he see her? Or was he just painting a pretty picture to mask his own guilt? She glanced at the faces around her colleagues who had shared their stories of struggle, their laughter mingling with her own. Would they shift their loyalty now, emboldened by Tom's success? Would they too start to question her worth because they now had a rich friend? The air felt thick with unspoken questions as she looked up at Tom, standing in front of the crowd like a beacon. He smiled, and the warmth that initially melted her walls now felt like a spotlight, illuminating her doubts instead. How could he possibly know what it was like to wake up every morning, cares tangled in her chest like a ball of yarn? As the event continued around her, the world seemed to blur. Sarah struggled to catch her breath, as if the air had thickened. Excusing herself, she slipped away from the crowded room, heart racing. She needed a moment, a breath of fresh air to cleanse the weight off her shoulders. Outside, the rain had slowed to a drizzle, the cool air wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. She leaned against the cool brick of the building, trying to gather her thoughts. It was quiet here, the sound of distant chatter faded. But the world behind her was alive with voices, reminding her of the comforting chaos she had always relied on. And then she heard footsteps approaching. A voice broke through the tranquil moment. "Sarah? Is everything all right?" It was Tom. His presence felt like a lightning bolt striking starkly against the dreary background. Her heart pounded louder, caught between the urge to flee and the need to confront what had aroused her vulnerability. "Why did you really come here?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Was it to save us? Or to feel good about yourself?" Tom's brow furrowed, genuine concern replacing the confident facade he maintained. "It's not about me. It's about what you have built here. I heard your story, and I wanted to honor that. But I don't want you to feel judged. I'm just trying to give back to be part of this community." His words hung in the air, powerful yet dizzying. Did he really mean it? As Sarah studied his face, something flickered in his eyes, a vulnerability that mirrored her own. Maybe, just maybe, he really did understand. But before she could respond, a distant cheer erupted from inside, a wave of excitement spilling through the door. "We're starting the raffle," someone called out. It felt like the pull of an anchor, tugging her back toward the tumult. All at once, Sarah's resolve wavered. Should she walk back inside and claim her strength among friends? Or should she remain here, trapped in doubt and misunderstanding? She glanced at Tom, and for a fleeting second, saw a man not just a millionaire, but someone searching for connection as earnestly as she was. "Maybe we can help each other," Tom suggested cautiously, as if reading her conflict. "Together, we could create something meaningful, something that goes beyond wealth and hardships." With a deep breath, Sarah considered his proposal. Could she trust him, or would he prove once more to be a reminder of all that felt lost to her? The sound of laughter, brighter than before, beckoned her back into the fray. But stepping back felt like stepping away from what could be a new beginning. What would it take to lean into this possibility and let go of the doubts that shielded her? As she stood there, the world swirling around them, she realized she was at a crossroads. A choice awaited her, heavy with emotional stakes. What would she decide? Sarah took a step back, letting the cool, damp air seep into her lungs. She weighed her options like a balance scale, the laughter and cheers from the auditorium on one side, and Tom's vulnerable gaze on the other. His proposal hung between them, fragile yet full of possibility. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice a mere whisper, unsure if she genuinely wanted to know how deep this connection could go. Tom shifted closer, taking her hesitation as an invitation. "There's a lot more we can do, Sarah. I know I come from a place of privilege, but I believe that we can build something together that makes a real difference. Your story, everything you've poured into this community, it inspires me." The sincerity in his eyes caught her off guard. Staring into them, she didn't see just a billionaire, but someone who recognized the weight of his own privilege while witnessing the struggles of others. It was a reflection that made her heart ache, both for the burdens she carried and for the potential of someone truly wanting to help. "What's in it for you?" It released from her lips before she could catch it. She battled the defensive edge creeping into her tone, wary of being swept away by naivety. "Honestly?" He ran a hand through his tousled hair, frustration flickering across his features. "I get tired of the world being so transactional. I want to do more. That's why I'm here. No strings attached." A knot formed in her stomach. She feared that everything could unravel. Was this too good to be true? Could he really want this partnership without expecting something in return? Those questions would haunt her if she let this moment slip away. Why now? She pressed. What changed? Tom glanced down, as though searching for the right words in the cobblestone beneath his feet. Lately, I've been overwhelmed with the emptiness that comes from chasing wealth for its own sake. I thought success was about status and money, but this moment brings me clarity. I want connection, purpose, something real. And meeting you brought that to life. Silence enveloped them. The cadence of Tom's statement echoed within her, urging her to confront what she felt but hadn't been ready to say. Being vulnerable scared her, but it also tantalized her, a chance to rescue the dreams she'd buried. I don't know if I can trust you, she finally admitted, her heart pounding. This was the raw truth she had avoided, and yet it felt freeing, like ripping off a band-aid. I understand, he replied quietly. Trust takes time. But I'm willing to put in the work. To show you. His resolve ignited something within her. Was it courage? The possibility of change shimmered in the space between them, inviting her to step closer. The laughter from inside faded momentarily, swallowed by the tension of their unspoken desires. Sarah felt a pull deep within, a yearning to leap into the unknown. What if that leap led her to something beautiful? Okay, she said, breathless. Let us explore this. Together. But as she accepted Tom's proposal, a strange thrill mixed with anxiety coursed through her. She had signed up for something that could transform her reality, for better or worse. Just then, the door swung wide open, and a rush of noise poured out. Sarah, Tom. Get back in here. They're announcing the raffle winner. The invitation echoed in her ears, a stark reminder of where they stood. Shall we? Tom asked, extending his hand, a bridge between two worlds. With a steadying breath, she took it, crossing the threshold back into the noise. But as she stepped forward, doubts bubbled to the surface. What awaited her on the other side? What secrets would unfold when she dared to let him in? As her heart raced, she looked at Tom, feeling both anticipation and trepidation. This moment was just the beginning. What lay ahead could change everything or leave her shattered. Would she find the strength to embrace it? The auditorium erupted with applause, the sounds mixing with the chatter of excited guests. Bright lights flickered overhead, illuminating smiling faces that swayed to the rhythm of celebration. Sarah's heart beat louder than the cheers, still echoing the weight of their conversation just moments before. It felt surreal to step from the quiet intimacy of their exchange into this bustling room filled with strangers and friends alike. As she and Tom stepped inside, the warmth enveloped them, but she instinctively moved a few inches away, wrestling with the new reality of their partnership. Her eyes scanned the crowd, searching for a familiar face in the sea of excitement. Those she often found comfort in felt distant now, their laughter seemed to mock her uncertainty. Let us find a good spot, Tom suggested, scanning the room. His smile radiated confidence, but Sarah felt a twinge of a storm brewing inside her. Could he truly mean what he said? Could they really make a difference together? They found a corner in the back, a space where the noise softened slightly as they settled into chairs. Tom leaned against the wall, curiosity dancing in his eyes as he faced her. So, what do you think? About everything? His voice was steady, grounding her as the chatter washed over them. She could feel a whirlwind of emotions, hope mingled with doubt, excitement tangled with fear. I want to believe this isn't just another charade. I'm so tired of those. I'm not here for a show, Sarah, he replied softly, sincerity enveloping his words like a warm blanket. I want to help. We can achieve so much together. Her heart both soared and sank at his declaration. In that moment, she caught a glimpse of what a shared mission could look like, changing lives, empowering others, building a future. But the shadows of her past, filled with betrayal and loss, loomed like a cloud. How could she trust this man with her hopes? "Tom, it's not just about intention," she said, her voice barely rising above the music. "There's a reality I've faced. I've poured everything into this community, and it's taken its toll. I can't afford for this to go wrong." The announcement of the raffle winner cut through her thoughts, drawing the crowd's attention as a woman took the stage. The spotlight lit her up, and as she spoke, Sarah realized that thousands of stories echoed around her, each with its own burdens and dreams. "Maybe this is all part of your story," Tom said, breaking the spell of her reverie. "How you turn your pain into something beautiful. But you have to let me in, Sarah. Just a little." A flicker of something deep inside her began to stir. What if he was right? What if she could reshape the narrative? The tension in her chest began to ease, replaced by a quiet flicker of resolve. "Okay, then let us see where this takes us." Their moment of understanding was interrupted as the raffle winner was announced: her friend, Mia. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Sarah instinctively clapped, her heart swelling with pride for Mia. But in the chaos, she couldn't overlook how Tom's eyes sparkled with admiration, stepping forth to join in the celebration. "Come on. Let us go congratulate her." Tom grabbed Sarah's hand, the warmth of his grip igniting a different type of fire in her heart. As they maneuvered through the crowd, she felt herself lightening, gaining momentum. Maybe this wasn't a leap into the abyss but rather a step toward something greater. Yet alongside her excitement, the voice of caution flickered at the back of her mind. What if this journey demanded more than she was prepared to give? They reached the stage, and Tom leaned close to whisper, "Whatever happens, we face this together." Sarah met his gaze, grounding herself in the sincerity she saw there. Could they navigate the labyrinth of their lives as partners? Just as she began to envision what that could mean, she felt a flicker of doubt spill into the corners of her mind. With a deep breath, she steeled herself. What was she willing to sacrifice? And if they pursued this partnership, would they truly emerge unscathed on the other side? In that moment, the stakes felt higher than ever before, and she had no clue how far the fall could be if she stumbled. Sarah's laughter mingled with the exuberant cheers, yet her heart felt heavy with anticipation. The radiant decorations and warm smiles around her contrasted sharply with the uncertainty tugging at her insides. As Mia accepted her well-deserved applause, Tom squeezed her hand, an anchor in the swirl of mingling emotions. "Isn't this amazing?" Tom asked, his voice bright amid the celebration. His enthusiasm was palpable, and for a fleeting moment, Sarah considered allowing herself to get swept up in it. But then her mind pulled her back, an unwanted reminder of the walls she'd built to shield herself from disappointment. "It is," she managed, forcing a smile. But the worries in her heart loomed much larger. She glanced around, taking in the mingling guests, and suddenly, she felt as if she didn't belong here. "Let us grab some drinks," Tom suggested, his intuition picking up on her unease. He led her toward the refreshment table, expertly weaving through the clusters of people. As they reached the table, Sarah started to feel a little less tense. The noise faded slightly, and she was able to breathe more easily. "What do you want?" Tom asked, scanning the array of options. "Just water, please," she replied, trying to keep her mind focused on the evening rather than her swirling thoughts. Tom filled 2 cups and handed her one, his hand brushing against hers. It sent a little jolt through her, and she instinctively looked up into his eyes again. There was warmth and kindness there, a reminder of why she had agreed to trust him, even just a little. "Maybe you should share your story too," he suggested, leaning in as they moved to a quieter corner. Mia did. "Your journey is just as important." She chuckled softly, shaking her head. "I don't know. What if no one cares?" "Sarah, that's not true. Look at them, they're all here because they care about each other. This community is about shared experiences and lifting each other up." "They would want to hear from you," Tom urged, sincerity saturating each word. The idea settled next to the little flicker of resolve she had felt earlier. Could sharing her story really lead to connection? What if it sparked change? Yet, a part of her was terrified, cocooned in the safety of her uncertainty. It just feels exposing, she said, searching for the words, trying to grab hold of her swirling thoughts. What if I open up and nobody understands? Tom stepped a tad closer, lowering his voice. But what if it resonates with someone? What if your struggles inspire others to heal? A soft gasp escaped her lips at the possibility. The weight seeming less heavy now, lighter with each word he spoke. But beneath the flicker of hope, a shadow remained, considering the risks involved. And what if I fail? What if they don't care? She could almost feel the pit in her stomach tighten with each scenario she painted, a mental montage of rejection flashing before her eyes. It's okay to be scared, Sarah, Tom said gently. But look around. You're not alone in this. We're a community. I'll be right beside you. His confidence stoked a burning curiosity in her. A what if that started to drown out the fearful voices? What if she poured her heart out and it did make a difference? With a soft sigh, Sarah glanced back at Mia as she hugged well-wishers, the joyous laughter lifting the atmosphere like balloons in the sky. Okay, she found herself saying. But only if you're there with me. Always, Tom promised, his voice a steady promise in an uncertain world. The moment hung in the air, a promise of possibilities ready to unfold, yet uncertainty lingered like a faint shadow. The auditorium felt more alive now, each laugh, each cheer feeling like an invitation, but she knew her fears weren't fully quieted. Just as they exchanged looks that held a promise of newfound courage, a loud commotion near the stage caught their attention. A microphone dropped, gasps filled the room, and Sarah's heart raced. What had just happened? And would that change everything? Without warning, the soft chatter and merriment around them dissolved into whispers of shock. Sarah's heart pounded, racing with uncertainty. She turned towards the stage just in time to see Mia, the triumphant speaker, looking momentarily stunned. The microphone had clattered to the floor, and people were murmuring, their eyes darting back and forth between the stage and each other, trying to make sense of the situation. Do you think she's okay? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom nodded, his own expression filled with concern. I think she'll be all right. But let us see what happens. As Mia regained control, the flicker of hesitance dissipated from her face. She quickly scooped up the microphone and took a deep breath. The room fell silent, everyone eager to hear what she'd say next. Sorry about that. Mia laughed, a friendly, warm sound that brought smiles back to faces. That was just me, getting caught up in the moment. The sudden shift in mood seemed to lift Sarah's spirits too. She watched Mia, whose poise reflected a strength Sarah wished she could embody. But as Mia resumed her recounting of her journey from hardship to triumph, something shifted inside Sarah, a tender stirring of possibility. She leaned closer to Tom, her voice urgent. What if, after this, I really do share my story? What if it helps someone? Exactly, he replied, illuminating the hope that had flickered within her moments earlier. Your words could light a path for others, just like Mia's doing. As Mia continued, Sarah couldn't help but feel a weight lift from her heart. The way Mia expressed her vulnerabilities made the audience lean in closer, hanging on to her every word like it was the lifeline they were all searching for. Sarah noticed one woman in the front row with tears glistening in her eyes, nodding along, clearly moved. But still, a hesitation lingered. Would her voice matter? Would her struggles resonate the same way? What if she poured her heart out only to find silence? The idea felt like standing on the edge of a high cliff, teetering between fear and the exhilarating call to soar. As Mia wrapped up her speech with a resounding cheer from the audience, an idea blossomed in Sarah's mind. Tom, she said suddenly, what if I go up right after her? His eyebrows shot up, and a smile broke across his face. What? You really want to? I don't know, maybe. Her pulse quickened at the thought. It's now or never, right? Exactly, he encouraged. Don't let the moment pass. You'll never know unless you take that leap. Just as Sarah contemplated the dizzying notion, the same woman from earlier stood up, clapping while calling out, "Thank you, Mia. Your words touched my heart." The room echoed with admiration, laughter, and cheers of approval. The warmth radiating through the crowd felt intoxicating, and the realization surged through her this was a community, people just like her, hungry for connection. Sarah looked at Tom, who was watching her with encouragement sparkling in his eyes. "Okay," she said, her voice now firm with resolution, "I'll do it. Believe in yourself." He beamed as he squeezed her hand once again. With her heart pounding harder than before, Sarah edged closer to the stage, her mind racing with thoughts of vulnerability and strength. She could already hear Mia's words echoing in her heart, filling her with a newfound determination. But then, another commotion drew her attention. A loud voice cut through the cheers and applause, declaring, "Wait. Before anyone speaks, I have something to reveal about today that might change everything." Her breath caught. What could be so important? Would it overshadow her moment? Could this shocking twist reshape the night completely? Sarah's heart sank as the unexpected voice reverberated through the room. An atmosphere that had been brimming with excitement abruptly shifted, shadowed by an unspoken weight of anticipation. She turned back toward the stage, her pulse racing. Who was this person, and what did they have to say? The crowd murmured, their buzzing voices a mix of curiosity and confusion. Mia glanced over, her expression a mixture of surprise and uncertainty. What revelation could possibly be more important than the stories we share? Sarah thought, feeling the sudden edge of anxiety kindle within her. The figure who had spoken stepped forward, a man wrapped in an expensive-looking suit, complete with a sharp tie. He was a stark contrast to the warm, welcoming vibe that filled the auditorium, and yet he had captured everyone's attention. "Thank you, Mia, for such an inspiring talk," he began, his voice projecting authority. "But I must interrupt the current proceedings to share something significant." His eyes swept over the crowd, lingering for a moment on Sarah. She felt a strange connection, as if he was sizing her up, but she could hardly focus on him. Her mind was still caught in her own whirlwind of thoughts about sharing her story. "Today," he continued, "is not just a celebration of personal triumphs, it is also about community. I know that each of you has a journey worth sharing. But what you may not realize is," he paused deliberately, his gaze now more intense, "that I along with many others have been in the audience to witness it all. I am not just an outsider, but a potential ally for each one of you." A murmur rolled through the room. The man was gaining momentum, capturing the attention of everyone. "I've spent years in the business world, often disconnected from the human side of life. However, my heart has longed for something more. Today, I captured a glimpse of that in Mia's story and so many others here." Sarah felt a tremor of hope alongside her anxiety. Was this man really about to help the people in this room, including her? Her chest tightened with a rush of what-ifs, urging her to take that leap. "Just as Mia shared her triumphs, I too have a confession," he continued, his voice growing softer, more personal. "I'm hiding my identity behind a mask of success. But real power lies in authenticity. I want to invest in stories like yours to spark real change, but only if you're willing to share them." The audience grew silent, the collective heartbeat echoing in the enclosed space. Sarah felt electrified, both by inspiration and fear. Would this stranger truly have the power to change their lives? Sensing the shift in the room, Tom squeezed her hand tighter. "This is your chance, Sarah," he whispered, his encouragement igniting the flicker of determination inside her. The room buzzed with the reality that beneath the man's polished exterior lay potential that could reshape destinies. Sarah's heart pounded against her ribs as she glanced at the stage. 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind. What if someone else took that opportunity before her? What if she stayed silent and never knew what could have come from speaking up? The moment hung heavy in the air, each tick of the clock reverberating like a drumbeat of destiny. She was on the brink, ready to step into the unknown. Before anyone speaks, I need to express my journey today, she thought. But would she have the courage to? Would she embrace her voice in front of this stranger and the audience she longed for? As she took a deep breath, a new thought emerged. What if I wait just a moment longer? Could this man's revelation change their lives forever? Would her story even hold weight in the midst of such a disclosure? These questions weighed on her as she stood, poised for a leap that could change everything, her heart racing toward a moment she had only dared to dream of. As Sarah stood frozen at the edge of possibility, her mind raced with questions and fears. The man on stage continued, his voice weaving a tapestry of hope and challenge before her, yet she remained caught in her own hesitation. The warmth of Tom's hand provided comfort, but the weight of expectation pressed heavily on her chest. If you are willing to stand up and share your truth, I'm ready to invest in more than just finances. I want to invest in your stories, your lives. He paused significantly, letting his words wash over the crowd like a soft wave. In that silence, Sarah felt the heavy thrum of her pulse, an echo against the broader heartbeat of the room. Around her, faces were etched with a blend of awe and longing. She surveyed the crowd, excited eyes searching for inspiration, anxious expressions mirrored her own. Uncertainty filled the air, thick enough to be sliced with a knife. Sarah could taste the tang of possibilities, yet it mingled with fear. What if they all waited too long? What if she let this chance slip through her fingers? Please, just give us a sign. A voice called out from the back. The audience shifted, whispering amongst themselves. The moment felt pregnant with potential, ready to burst. But Sarah stood still, grappling with the conflict inside her. She needed to share. She wanted to take that step. Yet doubt crept in like a whispering shadow. For too long, the man pressed on. Many of us have defined ourselves by our failures or our fears. But today, I invite you to redefine your narrative. I want to hear from you all. Embrace your truth, your vulnerabilities. It's time we start believing in each other, in our stories. His statement crackled with energy, prompting a few scattered claps, then rising to a wave of appreciation as the people sensed something genuine in his plea. Sarah's heart stirred. The man was right, they all had stories worth telling, even her story, one she had fought to bury for so long. She inhaled deeply, feeling something awaken in her spirit. As the applause grew, she squeezed Tom's hand back, a silent affirmation of strength. But would it be enough? In a moment of clarity, Sarah finally mustered courage. I can't wait any longer, she concluded, conviction flooding her. With one last glance at the intensity unfolding on stage, she maneuvered through the crowd, her feet moving almost of their own accord. The murmurs faded as her resolve sharpened into focus, the chance of a lifetime pulling her forward. Tom's voice trailed behind her, filled with a mixture of pride and worry. She felt his encouragement like a warm embrace, and it propelled her forward. The moment she reached the stage, her heart thundered. I have something to share, she announced, her voice growing as she gripped the podium. The audience fell silent, every eye on her, blending anxious anticipation with unyielding support. In that raw silence, Sarah's lifelong fears danced in the shadows, but she pushed them aside. This is my story. As she began to speak, the warmth of her own voice brought a swell of memories. She could see the faces of those she had fought for, the moments of triumph, and the sorrow that had shaped her. Each word became a patchwork quilt of her existence. Just as she started to unfold the tale of resilience and growth, her voice faltered, threatened by the enormity of vulnerability standing before her. But before she could second-guess herself, the man from the stage interjected. What if I told you, Sarah, that your story could touch lives beyond this room? What if it could ignite change? His eyes glimmered with something profound, stirring a new fire within her. And as he stepped closer, a question echoed in Sarah's mind: could her truth truly lead to transformation, not just for herself, but for everyone? She swallowed hard, realizing in that moment just how much was at stake. Would she have the courage to let her truth be the catalyst for change? The words hung in the air, charged with potential. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the crowd swell around her. The reality of the moment crashed down. This was no longer just a mere chance to share, it was a chance to change something. The audience was alive, leaning toward her, hungry for her truth. Growing up, I lived in a small town where my dreams always felt too big, she began. Her voice wavered at first, but she centered herself. I watched people around me drown in their own stories, hardened by circumstances. She paused, scanning the room. Each face was a blend of sympathy and eagerness. I was once just like them, she continued, the revelation pouring out with each heartbeat. Burdened with expectations that suffocated my spirit. I felt trapped in a cycle I couldn't escape. As she spoke, the memories unfurled. The fear of not being enough. The shame of dreams that felt unattainable. Every word punched through the fog of self-doubt, creating space for something new. I finally realized, she said, her voice strengthening, that I didn't have to live that way anymore. I learned it was okay to fail. It was okay to fall. More than that, it was liberating. Each failure became a stepping stone towards the person I'm meant to be. As if breathing in her determination, the audience shifted, whispering encouragement. Heads nodded, tears glistened. Their collective presence wrapped Sarah in a blanket of support, urging her to delve deeper. I found purpose in helping others, people who felt as lost as I once did. I learned that we can redefine our narratives together. When we support each other, we can transform pain into power, sorrow into strength. Tom's gaze met hers, glowing with pride. Her heart warmed, and adrenaline surged through her veins. She was speaking from the core of her being. The man on stage leaned forward, captivated by her authenticity. Change does not start in grand moments, she urged, the fire in her eyes burning fiercely. It starts with being brave enough to share our truths. It's about raising your voice when all you want to do is hide. With each passing second, Sarah felt the weight on her shoulders lighten. She was revealing the parts of herself she had long concealed, and there was an unexpected sense of freedom in that vulnerability. The crowd was alive with connection now, and she could practically feel their dreams swirling through the air, intermingling with hers. Just then, the man spoke again, breaking through the emotional whirlwind enveloping her. And what if I told you that your story might inspire someone to change their life today? His voice was steady, charged with affirmation. Sarah's heart raced. A part of her longed for this. She envisioned her words igniting something deep within someone in the audience. But as her thoughts spiraled, a new wave of anxiety hit her. What if she didn't have enough power in her story? What if she couldn't reach them? In that moment of uncertainty, a child's voice squeaked from the back, cutting through the tension. I believe you. Laughter bubbled up, breaking some of the heaviness, and joy mingled with her fears. Sarah smiled through her surprise, knowing this was the shift she needed. Thank you. She called back, her heart softening. If we all believe in each other, we can build something amazing together. She took a deep breath, preparing to dive even deeper into her truth, feeling the weight of the world around her, waiting to see where this moment would take her. As she prepared to share her biggest vulnerability, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. Would they still believe in her if they knew the whole story? Just as she was about to reveal it, the lights flickered above. The crowd fell silent, their eager gazes shifting upward. What was happening? In that instant, Sarah realized the truth was not just about the story she had to tell, but also the fear of what might come next. Would she dare to uncover the most painful parts of her journey? Would the power of her truth still prevail amidst the unknown? As the lights flickered, an electric tension filled the auditorium. Everyone held their breath, their curiosity sharper than ever. Sarah's heart raced, mirroring the anxiety that pulsed through the crowd. What was happening? "Stay with me," she whispered to herself, steadying her resolve. She wasn't going to let this moment slip away. Not now. Not when she was so close to something transformative. The flickering light steadied, revealing a vibrant energy, the kind that thrived when people connected through shared experiences. Her doubts began to melt away, replaced by the overwhelming urge to continue her story. This was her moment. "Each of us carries scars," she began, her voice now steady, meeting the gaze of every person in the room. "And while I may have fought hard to rise above my own shadows, my biggest fear has always been showing those scars." I thought vulnerability was weakness. A few heads nodded, and she sensed the collective remembering of battles shared, the camaraderie igniting a warm connection in the space. But I learned something powerful: vulnerability is strength. It's our willingness to share the messy, painful parts of our journey that inspires others. Her heart pounded as she recalled the chapters of her life. "I lost my father when I was just a girl. It shattered me. And for years, I wore that pain like a heavy coat, trying to shield myself from the world. I hid in shame. But what I didn't realize was that my story, even the painful bits, could become a lifeline for someone needing hope." "I believe you." The child's voice from earlier bounced back, stirring waves of energy throughout the room. Sarah smiled, emboldened. "Thank you. You see, scars tell stories of survival and resilience. They remind us we're never alone. When I began to let others in, I found a family, a community of people who stood by me through my darkest days, shining their light on the path forward." Tom watched her with admiration, his eyes glimmering with pride. In that instant, a shift occurred. Sarah no longer felt the weight of her insecurities, she embraced the power of authenticity like a warm embrace. Her voice rose above the cheering crowd, spiraling out of doubt and into certainty. "Together, we can be the beacon of hope for those who feel lost. We can lift one another, transform pain into purpose. Let us create a narrative of courage, sharing how we rise together, one story at a time." The response was electric. Cheers erupted, applause echoing off the walls, fanning the flames of her courage. People were rising in their seats, shouting words of encouragement, the collective heartbeat of the room harmonizing like a powerful choir. Intrigued by her fearless display, the man from the stage stepped forward, his presence solidifying their shared mission. "You see the truth, Sarah. Every story is a thread woven into the fabric of this community. I stand here ready not only to invest in you financially but emotionally, to amplify these voices as they deserve to be heard." As if his words wove a tapestry of unity, the audience surged with newfound energy, excitement coursing through their veins. People began to rise from their seats, their bodies moving together in an impromptu show of solidarity, a celebration of strength in connection. The heat of the moment felt indescribable. Sarah's heart raced with gratitude and joy. Tom's hand squeezed hers tightly, an unspoken promise that they would walk this path together. "Believe in yourself." The child shouted again, his small voice piercing through the echoing cheers. In that moment, Sarah understood that vulnerability had ignited inspiration. She wasn't just sharing her truth, she was sparking a wildfire of connection, lighting a soulful path for others. Their stories intertwined, binding them through common experiences and dreams. The auditorium resonated with the promise of change, the laughter and voices of kindred spirits lifting her higher. She felt transformed, like a light breaking through the clouds of self-doubt. As she looked around at the faces of love and support, she realized they were united by something larger. It was their stories, their scars, they made them human. She could feel every heart beating in sync, the collective fervor breathing life into her intention. "Today, we stand together," Sarah declared, her voice ringing with conviction. "Let us embrace our scars and celebrate our strength. Together, let us make this community a place where every voice matters." The crowd roared with applause. She was no longer alone in her struggles or dreams, everyone was ready to embark on this journey. As the cheers rose higher, Sarah saw a future glowing with possibility, a future she now knew she was destined to shape. The lights illuminated the energy of the room, revealing a community reborn. And in that moment, that powerful surge, Sarah understood this story was bigger than her own. It belonged to them all, woven together by shared experiences, hope, and an unwavering belief in the strength of unity. This was it. This was transformation. Now, take this inspiration and share it with the world. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that fuel the spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure this movement continues to spread. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and join the story. You need to subscribe now, because this is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.